Okay, welcome to another deep dive.
Great to be here.
If you work anywhere near business or tech, especially software, and you're aiming to get your English sounding, well, sharper, more fluent, you're definitely in the right place today.
hmm
We're diving into some material that sort of paints a picture of a typical day, and we're going to pull out those keywords, the essential vocabulary you hear all the time.
Yeah, and the goal isn't just reciting definitions, right?
Exactly.
It's showing you how these words actually work in context, how they live and breathe in real conversations. That's how you really improve your English, by seeing and hearing it used naturally.
That's the key, isn't it? Fluency isn't just knowing the meaning offhand.
Not at all. It's about, understanding it instantly when someone says it in a meeting and feeling confident enough to use it yourself.
Right.
So walking through a scenario like this, it helps you see how all this vocabulary fits together. It makes your own communication clearer and, frankly, helps you understand what's going on much better.
Perfect. So let's set the scene. The material we looked at, it describes a pretty standard Monday morning software startup. We're going to follow the team as they kick off their week.
And pick up some language gems along the way.
Exactly. Think of it like learning vocabulary in its natural habitat.
I like that. We'll pull out the key business, the key tech terms from this story, get really clear on what they mean here, and see how they're actually used day to day.
Okay, let's jump right in then. The scene opens, teams gathering for their daily stand-up meeting. Now, this startup, they're building a new product, and they use a couple of really common models. They're a SaaS company, and they're building a platform.
Ah, yes. SaaS and platform, foundational terms. Absolutely.
Let's start with SaaS.
Okay. SaaS, software as a service. It just means the software is delivered over the internet. Usually you access it with a web browser, maybe a mobile app, and you typically pay for it with a subscription.
Right. So you're not installing a big program on your computer. You just log in online.
Precisely. Think about online document tools, project management software, things you use every day probably. That's SaaS.
Got it. And platform.
A platform is, well, it's a system that provides a foundation for something else. It lets users interact maybe with each other, maybe with content, and crucially, it often supports other applications or features that can be built right on top of it.
So like social media sites or platforms.
Exactly. Or operating systems, even big online marketplaces, they create this whole ecosystem around them. That's the platform idea.
Okay. Makes sense. And as you said, the team starts with a daily stand-up. This tells us something right away about how they work, doesn't it? They're probably using Agile.
Very likely, yeah. Agile is this flexible way to manage projects. You break work down into short cycles, usually like 1 or 2 weeks.
Sprints, right. We'll probably get to that.
We will. And there's a big focus in Agile on continuous improvement, adapting to changes really quickly. It started in software, but honestly, you see Agile ideas everywhere now.
And the stand-up itself, what's the point of that?
It's a cornerstone of Agile, really. A quick daily meeting, super short, ideally. Everyone shares just 3 things. What I did yesterday, what I'll do today, and this is key, any blockers.
Blockers. Explain that.
Yeah, that's a term you'll hear constantly in stand-ups. A blocker is simply anything stopping you from getting your work done.
Like what?
Oh, could be anything. Waiting for info from another team, maybe a technical problem you're stuck on, needing a decision from someone higher up, anything that's impeding your progress.
So the stand-up is where you raise that.
Exactly. You voice it so the team, or maybe the manager, can help clear it. You'll hear people ask, any blockers today? Or someone might say, yeah, I'm blocked waiting for the API specs. It's much more common than saying, I have an impediment.
Okay, let's meet some of the team. Here are their updates. First, Priya, she's the product manager. She reports the MVP is ready for beta testing.
Right. 2 really critical terms in product development there. MVP, minimum viable product.
Minimum viable product.
Yeah. It's the version of your product that has just enough features to be usable by early customers, enough to get it out there and collect feedback for what you build next. It's not the finished thing. It's the simplest version that still delivers some value.
So you launch quickly, see if people bite, see how they use it.
That's the idea. Get that feedback loop going early. And beta testing is often the next logical step.
Okay.
That's when you let a group of real users, people outside your company, test the product before the official launch. They'll find bugs, usability issues, things your internal team might miss because they know the product too well.
Right, you're testing it in the wild, basically.
Exactly. You'll often hear people say something is in beta or we're running a beta program. And for MVP, someone might suggest in a meeting, look, let's just build an MVP first, see if it works. It implies starting simple.
Priya also mentioned tracking KPIs.
Ah, KPIs.
Yeah.
Key performance indicators. These are the numbers, the measurable values that tell you how well you're doing against your main business goals.
No, so for a SaaS platform like theirs,
KPIs could be number of new signups each week, daily active users, maybe customer churn rate, how many customers you're losing. They're how you actually measure if you're succeeding or not. A manager might ask, what are our key KPIs for this launch?
okay. Next up was Alex, a backend developer. He found a bug in the API connecting the front end and the back end. Whoa, lots of terms there. Let's break that down.
Yeah, let's unpack those.
Uh,
They're fundamental to how most web applications are built today. A bug, well, that's probably the easiest one.
an error, right? Something wrong in the code.
Exactly. A flaw, an error, something that makes the software crash or just behave weirdly, not as intended. Finding and fixing them is, well, it's a huge part of a developer's job.
We've all experienced bugs as users.
Oh, absolutely. Now, front end and back end. The front end is everything you, the user, see and interact with.
The website itself, the app on my phone,
Yeah. The layout, the buttons, the forms, the menus, it runs in your browser or on your device. The back end is the hidden part, the stuff running on servers somewhere else.
the engine room.
That's a great analogy. It's the servers, the databases where the data is stored, the application logic that processes requests and sends data back to the front end.
So the front end makes the request, the back end figures it out and sends the answer back.
Pretty much. And the API, the application programming interface, that's the crucial link between them.
The bridge.
Exactly, or the messenger. It's a set of rules, like a contract, that defines how the front end should ask for information from the back end and how the back end will respond. It allows these different pieces of software to communicate reliably. You often hear about needing to integrate with an API or developers asking to check the API documentation.
Okay, and Alex found a bug in that API, so what does he do next?
He starts debugging.
Finding and fixing the bug.
Yep. Debugging is that whole process, identifying where the error is happening in the code, figuring out why it's happening, and then writing the fix. It's like detective work for code. Developers spend a lot of time debugging. They might say, I need to spend the afternoon debugging this issue.
Got it. Moving on, Sarah. The business analyst, the BA. She's been benchmarking competitors, trying to find gaps in their business model and maybe some ideas for growth hacking.
Right. The business analyst, or BA, their role is often to be that link between the business side, what the company wants to achieve, and the technical side, what the developers build.
Translating needs into requirements.
Exactly. And analyzing data, looking at processes, trying to figure out how to make things work better, more efficiently.
And this task she's doing, benchmarking.
Benchmarking is essentially comparison. You're comparing your own company's performance or products or processes against others, usually against your main competitors or maybe against the best in class in the industry.
To see how you stack up.
Precisely. Sarah's looking at what competitors are doing well, where they might be weak, trying to find opportunities or areas where her company needs to improve.
And she's looking specifically at their business model.
Yeah, the business model is fundamental. It's how the company actually makes money, how it creates value for customers, and how it captures some of that value itself.
So like subscription fees for the SaaS company.
Right, or is it based on ads, selling data, one-time purchases? Understanding a competitor's business model is key to figuring out their strategy and how to compete effectively.
And the last term there, growth hacking. Sounds a bit intense.
It can be. Growth hacking isn't your traditional marketing playbook. It's more about finding creative, often low-cost, very data-driven strategies to acquire and keep customers and to do it fast.
Like viral loops or clever referral programs.
Exactly. Or heavily optimizing the sign-up process, using social media in unconventional ways. It's very experimental. Try something, measure it if it works, scale it up fast. Especially important for startups or platforms where user growth is everything. People might say, we need some growth hacking ideas for user acquisition.
Okay, next update in the stand-up. Jin, the DevOps engineer, talking about the CI/CD pipeline.
Ah, DevOps. This is more than just a job title. It's really a culture and a set of practices. It aims to bring together software development, the dev part, and IT operations, the ops part.
Breaking down walls between those teams.
Exactly. The goal is to make the whole process of building, testing, and releasing software much faster and more reliable. Continuous delivery, continuous improvement.
And the CI/CD pipeline is how they do that.
It's a core tool, yes.
Yeah.
CI/CD stands for continuous integration and continuous delivery or continuous deployment. The pipeline is basically an automated workflow.
Okay.
So a developer commits code. The CI part automatically integrates that code with the main code base and runs automated tests. Then the CD part automatically prepares the release or even deploys it straight to production.
Wow, so code goes from developer to live very quickly.
That's the aim. Faster releases, fewer manual errors, more reliability. You'll hear teams talk about our CI/CD pipeline is green, meaning everything passed, or the deployment failed in the pipeline.
Jin also mentioned deploying updates to the cloud. Seemed obvious now, but still a key term.
Oh, absolutely ubiquitous. Cloud computing. It just means accessing computing resources, servers, storage, databases, software over the internet, the cloud, instead of having them physically on your premises.
And you usually pay for what you use.
Typically, yes, pay as you go. The big benefits are scalability. You can easily get more resources when you need them, flexibility, and often cost savings compared to managing all that hardware yourself. Most modern apps, especially SaaS ones, run in the cloud. People talk about migrating to the cloud or our app is hosted in the cloud.
Right. Next, Maria, the UI/UX designer. She mentioned needing responsive design.
UI/UX, user interface, and user experience. These are often grouped together but are slightly different.
Yeah.
UI, user interface, is about the look and feel. The visual design, the layout, the buttons, the colors, what you actually see. UX, user experience, is about the overall experience of using the product. Is it easy to use? Is it intuitive, efficient, enjoyable? It's user-centered design.
Put the user first.
Always. And responsive design is a critical part of good UI/UX today.
Why that?
Because people use so many different devices, desktops, laptops, tablets, phones, all with different screen sizes. Responsive design means your website or app automatically adjusts its layout and content to fit optimally on whatever screen the user has.
So it looks good and works well everywhere.
Exactly. If something isn't responsive, it often feels broken or unprofessional on mobile devices. You'll hear designers ask, is the design responsive?
Maria also suggested reusing the company's framework and library.
Smart move. Saves time. A framework is like a blueprint or a scaffolding for building software. It's a set of tools, guidelines, and pre-written code that provides a basic structure.
So you don't start from absolute zero.
Right. It enforces certain ways of doing things, which helps with consistency and speed. Think of like Ruby on Rails or Angular. Those are popular web frameworks.
And a library. How's that different?
A library is also a collection of pre-written code, but it's usually focused on performing specific tasks or functions. It's less about the overall structure and more about providing useful tools you can call upon when needed.
Like tools in a toolbox.
Good analogy. If the framework is the house structure, libraries are like prefabricated components, maybe a library for handling dates, or one for creating charts, or one for making network requests. You just grab the library function you need. Developers use frameworks and libraries all the time to avoid reinventing the wheel. They might say, we should use the charting library for this, or this project is built on the React framework.
Okay, last person to stand up. Tom, the QA tester. He reminded everyone about version control, mentioned managing source code, and the ability to do a rollback.
QA, quality assurance. Their job is crucial. Find the bugs before the users do. Make sure the software works correctly and meets the requirements.
And version control. You said indispensable.
Absolutely. For any team working on code together, it's essential. Version control systems like Git, which is hugely popular, track every single change made to the source code.
And source code is just
the actual code written by the programmers. The human-readable instructions, version control records, who changed what, when they changed it, and ideally why they changed it.
It's like a detailed history log for the code.
Exactly, which is vital for collaboration. Multiple people can work on the same files without accidentally overwriting each other's work. It helps merge changes together.
And the rollback part.
That's a lifesaver. If a recent change introduces a serious bug or breaks something important, version control lets you easily revert the code back to an earlier working state. That's a rollback. You hear developers say, just commit your changes to version control, or we had to do a rollback on the last deployment.
Okay, that wraps up the stand-up updates. But the morning wasn't over. The material says after the stand-up, the team went into sprint planning.
Right. Circling back to Agile and those short work cycles we called sprints. Sprint planning is the meeting where the team decides what work they're going to tackle in the upcoming sprint.
How does that work?
They usually look at a prioritized list of tasks or features, often called the backlog, and the team figures out how much of that work they can realistically commit to completing within the next sprint, say, the next 2 weeks. They plan the what and often discuss the how.
And to help visualize this, they used a Kanban board.
Ah, Kanban. Another popular Agile tool, though it can be used independently too. A Kanban board is super simple, visually. It has columns representing stages of work like to do, in progress, Testing, done.
And tasks are like sticky notes moving across.
Often, yeah. Tasks are represented by cards, and they move from left to right across the board as they progress. It gives everyone instant visibility into what's being worked on, who's doing it, and where potential bottlenecks might be forming.
And they also use it to manage dependencies. What are those?
Dependencies are links between tasks, where one task can't start until another one finishes.
Oh, right. Like you can't test a feature until the developer finishes coding it.
Exactly. Or the front-end work might depend on the back-end API being ready. Or maybe your task depends on another team delivering something. Identifying these dependencies early is really important for planning the workflow and avoiding unexpected delays. People might say, there's a dependency on the design team finishing the mockups.
Okay. And the final piece of our story. Priya, the product manager, later met the CEO. And they discussed leveraging cloud computing and offering a robust API. We've heard those before.
Yes, and this is a really important point for you, the listener. Notice how these terms, cloud computing, API, which we first heard in a technical context, are now being discussed at the CEO level.
Right, in a strategic business context.
Exactly. Decisions about using the cloud for scalability or building an API so other companies can integrate with your platform, these are major business strategy decisions. It shows that understanding this vocabulary isn't just for the techies. It's crucial for anyone involved in the business side, too. Product managers, marketers, sales, executives, everyone needs a grasp of these concepts to communicate effectively.
That's a great takeaway. So just to recap this deep dive, we've walked through a morning at a software startup and hit on, what, over 20 key terms?
At least. From SaaS and platform through Agile, stand-ups, blockers, MVP, beta testing, KPIs.
Plug API, front-end, back-end, debugging, BA, benchmarking, business model growth hacking.
DevOps, CI/CD pipeline, cloud, UI, UX, responsive design, framework, library, QA, version control, source code, rollback, sprint planning, Kanban, dependencies. Wow, yeah. Quite a list.
And we saw them used by different roles in different situations, from quick daily updates to higher-level strategic talks.
And hopefully hearing them used in that context is the most valuable part. That's how fluency develops. It's not just memorizing a list. It's understanding the nuance, the situation.
The encouragement for you is to start actively listening for these terms in your own work environment.
Yeah. In meetings, in emails you read, in industry articles, notice who says them and how they're used. Understanding that context is really the key.
We designed this deep dive to give you that concentrated exposure, focusing on the terms that really matter in the tech and business world today, hoping it boosts both your understanding and your confidence in using English in this specific field.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Technology and business change so fast, right? Terms that were jargon a few years ago, like cloud or agile, are just standard practice now. So think about this. How does continuously learning and adapting your vocabulary help you stay effective and relevant? Which of these terms we discussed today might you hear or even have a chance to use tomorrow?
Something to think about. Well, that's it for this deep dive.